What's up, everybody? Kier Gomes here, and welcome back. Today's going to be a good episode because we are going to be talking about something that I personally am really excited for, and I know a lot of you are excited for as well, and that is the new ARW playing cards by Luke Wadey. In case you're new here, I just recently did a new series on this channel called Designer Spotlight, where I take a designer that I admire, somebody that I look up to, and just do quick, hyper-fast reviews of all of their decks from start to finish, talking about their design principles, talking about their ideas, talking about other things that they might have worked on. And one thing I briefly mentioned in that episode was the release of the new ARW playing cards. If you follow Luke on Instagram, you've definitely seen these before. They are due to hit Kickstarter next week, and that's just in time for me to do a quick overview of what you can expect from the deck. Now, this is a prototype, and it was a prototype that had a tuck box that you have to assemble by hand. And according to Luke, they didn't come out all that great, so all I have is the cards. However, when I review the tuck, I'll show you a picture of what it looks like, and I'll give you some information. But before we do, please do drop a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And without further ado, let's roll that intro and get you guys on your way.
Let's go.
All right, now, as most of you know, I'm a huge fan of Luke Wadey. I love his designs, I love his unique concepts, and I absolutely love the work that he does with taking a simple inspiration or a simple modern art concept and turning it into a deck of cards. And this deck is definitely no different. The tuck box will be done in black with some white and kind of neon, bright red, almost hot pink aspects. It will show you a preview of the back design of the cards on the back, but it is mostly its own design, and I think it looks really, really cool. Everything from this kind of modern font to the modern design of it. I really like the way that the 3D renders came out, and I can't wait to see what the finished product looks like. All right, now without having the tuck case like actually here, there's not really a lot that I can say about it, but it does look great. Luke, you did a great job. I am so stoked. I cannot wait. But what we can do is take a look at what the cards will look like. Now again, since this is a prototype, we're not going to talk about the handling because the way that this deck handles will not be the same as the way that the real thing handles after Kickstarter. But in terms of the design, it is accurate, and I cannot wait to show it to you guys because I absolutely love it. I could stare at this deck all day. You get a really unique and very interesting one-way back design. You can see on one half of it, it has arrows pointing in an upward direction if you hold it this way. Kind of making for like a casino style pattern on one side, which I really, really dig. In the middle, it says 1 out of 56. There are 56 cards in this deck. And it has 4 images of arrows, and that's actually what makes up the suits of the deck. So the upward arrow is spades, the next one is diamonds, then you have clubs, and then the downwards arrow is hearts. And then next to that, you can see LW, stands for Luke Wadey, ARW is the name of the deck, and V1, which would imply that if this deck does well, we would get a V2. So y'all better be back in this deck because I want a V2. Now, it is a one-way back design, but honestly, I love it. This deck was definitely designed with cardistry in mind, as is the case with a lot of Luke's decks. But one thing that I really like about this one is the way that the arrow is placed in the corner. Depending on like what flourish you're doing, you'll get arrows pointing in different directions. I'll give you guys a little demo of that here in a minute, but I really like that. It's kind of like the idea that you can choose, depending on what flourish you're doing, you can choose your own direction, which I really like. In fact, there is a hashtag associated with this deck, and it is hashtag choose your path. Again, great example of Luke really thinking outside the box and adding more to just the design of the cards. Well done. And your ace of spades looks like this. Now you can notice that in the corner where the pips would normally be like on a standard deck, you do get a ace of spades index. Again, it's that upward arrow meaning spades. But then you'll also notice that in the other corners, you can see kind of the abbreviation of what the card is. So on this one, it's AC/SP for ace of spades. Again, I really like that. Now the concept of this design was actually inspired by European street signs and traffic signs. And just the faces of these cards are very reminiscent as well as the back. So I really like that the inspiration carries throughout the entire deck. And for cardistry, man, like I can't really see what else you would possibly need. All right, you get one joker that looks like this, very creative. It says JKR in the corner, which stands for Joker, obviously. And then you get the arrows pointing in different directions, which make different variations of ARW, which is the name of the deck. ARW as the first one, RWA, WAR, AWR, RAW, and WRA. So just different combinations of that set of letters. That's a sick Joker. That is, I would wear that like on a t-shirt for sure, 100%. And your other Joker is almost kind of reminiscent of like the Grid series Jokers, which I really like. It's half red, and then it says JKR in the center, and it's got these, again, these kind of code abbreviations on them, which look really, really nice. I also love the font. I love that modern, simplistic font. You can also see on one of the Jokers, it's got Luke's Instagram handle, and then the hashtag #WeAreZero and choose your path on the other side. Consistent with great branding, which is very important to me, but I really love that you can utilize the space on the Joker card, since it's got to have that text on it anyway, just like you would see on a European street sign. I love that you used it to brand yourself and to keep the theme of the deck alive in doing so, so really smart. As well, you get a double backer, which can be used for all kinds of magic effects. And if you're interested in seeing what I use it for, I do have a video. It's 3 uses for a double backer. I'll link that somewhere at the end of this video. All right, now the faces of this deck are really, really cool. Also, very Luke Wadey-esque, which is what you would expect at this point, right? But they look really good. So here are what your face cards look like. Just to kind of run through them, this is your hearts, spades, jack of hearts. That's what your clubs look like. That is the ace of clubs. It's the 7 of clubs. I love the clubs, actually. That might be my favorite suit in this deck. The diamonds look good too, though. Yeah. One thing that I think is really going to pay off with this deck is that the court cards on the hearts and diamonds are done in completely red, and then the spades and clubs court cards are done in completely black, making for a really, really nice contrast when you look at them together. As well, I really love the justice that Luke did to standard USPCC court cards. I like that because I do like some standard in my face cards. Now, obviously, this is not a deck that I'm going to walk around and perform with, especially not if I'm being paid for a performance, but casually, this makes it a lot easier to perform Magic with. It just looks really good. I like how no matter where you riffle the deck, you can see something, because there's kind of an index or a pseudo-index in every corner. I love that. All right, so there is your overview of what this deck is going to look like. So now what I want to do is give you some information on the Kickstarter, and just some information on what this deck will actually be like when it comes time for you to buy it. So the deck will actually be printed on crushed premium B stock with the United States Playing Card Company. Some of Luke's decks in the past have been printed on Cartamundi stock, but we're back at USPCC for this one, which I think was a really wise choice. And according to Luke, what you can expect the feel of the cards to be like is going to be very similar to his Mono X deck. The only difference being this deck will be modern cut, whereas the Mono X deck was traditionally cut. Only difference in the handling, according to Luke. But with USPCC, you never know, it might feel even better, which would be hard to do, but it might. As well, other decks that are printed on crushed B stock would be like the Black Roses deck, the Hydrogen deck, the Orbit decks. So any of those, if you own them, there you go. So as I said, this deck will be launching on Kickstarter next week, and at that time, typical Kickstarter rules apply. You want to try to get there early so you can grab an early bird special. I myself will absolutely be backing this project. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking,
well, Kier, it's because it's your friend. Of course you're going to back it.
And to that I say, yes, definitely. But also, if I never met Luke, I loved his decks before we were friends, I would still back this deck. I think it looks amazing. And one thing that I really expect this deck to do on Kickstarter is, one, I expect that it's going to get fully funded. But I also think that we're going to meet some stretch goals and hopefully unlock additional things from Luke, additional designs. Maybe it'll speed up the process on V2. I love what Luke did with the Grid series. I love what he's done with the Mono series so far. I am so excited to see a series of Arrow playing cards. That is going to be awesome. So I will leave Luke's information down below, his Instagram, so that way you can follow him and then you can get information and updates on the Kickstarter. I'm super excited. I really think that this deck is going to do well because it looks so good. This kind of reminds me, actually, the back design of this deck kind of reminds me of the Joker on the Jet Setter decks. And I love that. I love that. Those Jokers are awesome. They look like boarding passes. Kind of like, I could almost see this being like a bus pass in like Belgium. Or train or whatever. All right, so let me give you guys just a quick demonstration of what these cards will look like in movement. We are not gonna talk about the handling because this is a prototype. It's on prototype stock. It feels like a prototype. But I would like to show you guys some action with this deck. So let's do that. Well guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode and my review of the Arrow playing cards prototype by Luke Wadey. This deck will be on Kickstarter next week, so save some money if you can. I know the holidays are coming up. Remember, when you back something on Kickstarter, you don't pay unless the project gets funded, which is after 30 days. So whatever you spend on the Kickstarter next week won't actually take your money until after the holidays. So just keep that in mind if you're worried about it. Also, I'll be announcing the winner of the Oblique playing card giveaway. I haven't picked the winner yet though, so at some point in the next week or two, I will be announcing that winner. So if you haven't entered, I will link that video below or put it in one of the titles at the end, so you can go check it out and win a deck of cards. I want to say thank you to Luke for letting me be part of the promotional campaign of this deck. I know prototypes can get expensive. I really appreciate that he took the time to not only print me a copy of the prototype, but send it over to me and give me some direction on what type of promotional content he's looking for. And this deck review is part of that. And I couldn't be more happy because, let's face it, that's what you guys want to see from me. All right, guys. All that stuff is on the forefront. We got a lot going on, gearing up for 2020 pretty strong. I'm really excited because I think that this is going to be a big year for this channel specifically. Hopefully that's enough to get you to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I hope you'll drop a like on this video, not just for me, but also for Luke. With all that being said, I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day. I know I will. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.